wow. Just wow. To be honest, after watching episode 2 of season 2 of Solo Leveling, I expected episode 3 to be more of a slow episode, with the plot moving along, sort of, but slowly, and not really having too much meat on it before moving on to the next one. But oh boy, was I wrong, because holy crazy plot developments. What happened in this one? And before we talk about anything else, yes, we have to absolutely deep dive into the crazy plot developments that we saw at the end of episode 3 of season 2 of Solo Leveling here. Keep in mind, I'm only an anime watcher, so I have no idea where this story goes from here, but what in the world just happened? Sung's dad, was caught on the other side of a gate, or in the monster world, in some way, for a decade, and just now, he randomly managed to find his way out in America. More on that later. But how in the world did that happen? Did we get any information on his dad in season 1? I don't recall, though it is a little while since I saw season 1, of any information regarding the dad. It wasn't just really mentioned at all. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe this is the first information of any kind we have of his father, and apparently he was just living, I presumed dead, on the other side of the monster world, or other side of the gate rather, for a decade, and now he's just back somehow. This raises so many questions. I don't even know where to start. I mean, is this actually his father? Is it not? Is it just like a monster amalgamation of his father that copied him in some way? I doubt it, but at this point, anything's possible. Is him being trapped on the other side of a gate and not being let out related to his wife's or Sung's, well, Jinho's, both named Sung's gonna be annoying, Jinho's mom's illness somehow? Maybe, maybe not. How is the system tied into all of this? That might be the most interesting so far for me, because clearly, as we see later in the episode, he absolutely dumpsters Wang. Like, wow, he just gets demolished apparently. We don't see the fight, but I guess we don't need to, because you just get one hit KO'd in a second, apparently. So he must be incredibly powerful if he can just bitch slap an S rank, a powerful S rank at that, so easily. But is the system involved here? Is the system the same for Sung Senior as it is for Sung Junior? Did the system maybe initially recruit Sung's father, or Jinho's father, to be a player, and maybe he agreed at one point, but then stopped doing what the system wanted, or maybe he found out what the system was trying to make him do, or turn him into, and then he stopped, let's say, working for the system or letting the system guide him in some way towards what the system wanted, and instead tried battling it. As we find out in this episode, that he only came back to stop this great catastrophe, which can only be referring to Sung, I imagine, or Jinho, goddammit. So then maybe, again, only speculation here, clearly, but maybe if the system first recruited his father, but then it didn't work out, and the system just let him be trapped on the other side, because maybe he wasn't following orders, so to speak, or following along to what the system wanted, or he knew too much at one point, he then recruited Sung by initiating this double dungeon and then making him into a player to finish what his father started, and then trying to make the son instead this player icon of some sort to do something or prepare him for something in the world. I suppose that might be possible in some way or form, but I can't imagine the system is not involved here in some way. But then also the question arises of, why is the system so interested in this family if the system is involved with the father as well, which, again, I can only assume, given he was trapped on the other side of a gate, which isn't necessarily possible by conventional wisdom in this world, and somehow he survived. So he must have been crazy strong, or he was able to level up, same as Sung, and that's how he survived. I can really only speculate here for hours on end on what the case, or the real case here might be, but I was so intrigued by this plot element in this episode that I just started typing theories and making tons of notes on my Grammarly of like, what does this mean? How could this be connected here and there and here and there and everywhere? And it really made me smile with how complex this single plot point makes the entire story, potentially. Again, it might just be really simple and boring and contrived, but it also might be really interesting and fun to figure out and see how it plays out also. Because we still know very little about the system, and that's something that I love as well. How we are very slowly trying to piece out what is the system, or who is the system, what does the system want, What is the goal? Is it a neutral entity, an evil entity, a good entity? What is really going on here? And with every episode that we get smaller or bigger hints, well, I guess this episode, a major ass plot development regarding it, then that only fuels that imagination for people like me to want to really think and come up with ideas and theories and speculation, which is a lot of the fun as well in anime like this. I feel like really wanting to see the next episode and being super excited about what this story might have to offer now, given this new information, is something I just really, really enjoy. I can only imagine, though, that if, as Sung Sr. here says, and he's being interviewed by Wong, that, yeah, I only came back to stop this great calamity or catastrophe, which, again, as I said, has to be Sung Jr. This is gonna get rough for me. Is that gonna actually end with father and son having like a massive sort of world-ending conflict? Or is the fact that it's his son, which clearly he doesn't know, I suppose, yet? Or maybe he knows. Who knows, really? How will that affect his desire to stop this catastrophe? Or how does he mean to stop it? Does he mean to end the entity that is going to be responsible? Or convince him, I suppose, instead? Very, very interesting how that all might turn out. Moving on from that, though still staying on Sung Sr., somehow he found his way out of the gate system or the monster world or whatever it's supposed to be in America, which got Wong to take a plane back from Korea since he was going to kill Sung Jr. last episode to interview him since he speaks Korean and, he can defend himself, I guess. Which I suppose can be viewed as somewhat contrived, that he came out in America, which meant that specifically Wong had to be called back because he's the only one that really speaks the language that can deal with it, that's based there. But at the same time, as it can be thought of as contrived, maybe the system, being a bit evil and scheming, on purpose let out Sung Sr. in America because maybe the system doesn't like Wang either and wanted to get him off the board so he doesn't interfere with Sung and its plan for Sung Jr. moving forward. Another interesting theory, in my opinion at least. It also raises the question of, okay, so Wang clearly not happy about having to go back to do this interview and stuff. Why does he do it? I mean, yeah, he's in the guild there, and I suppose he has certain responsibilities, but he's an S rank, which we have established can sort of do whatever they want. So can't he just blow them off and say, no, I'm busy going on a killing spree over here, deal with it yourselves? Why does he have to go back to do this interview? Like, why can't he just tell them off? I mean, he has the power to do so, right? So what are the relationships or the power structures here that sort of not necessarily forces him, but makes him just instantly go back to the US to do this interview when, I mean, he isn't obligated to, or even if he is, he has the power just to say no. So I don't know. I don't really know how that's connected, but it ends how it ends anyhow, which is with Wang being absolutely dumpstered in a second, as I mentioned before, after he realizes that Jinho, or Sung's Jr., is the son, to which he says, yeah, I know your son's already dead. Not literally, but well, in his mind he is, because he's gonna off him later, to which a fight ensues. And I do like the after effects of that. They don't show the fight because it ended in 1 second, so not worth the animation budget, I guess, and they don't really need to, because they don't want to show, I suppose, the power level of Sung Sr. yet. But it is interesting how they talk about it after the fact, like, wow, I knew fights between S ranks is tough, but holy crap, an entire building gone in a second, and the only reason why the entire city basically didn't go up in flames is because Wong was one-hit KO'd, more or less. It's also interesting, though, how might this move forward with Wang at this point? So he was clearly dumpstered. I mean, he's not dead, I assume. So he's going to lick his wounds, but he got bitch-slapped, basically, in 2 seconds flat. Is that going to make him revengeful? Is he going to try to go after Sung Sr.? Or, since he's smart enough, I assume, to know he can't beat Sung Sr., is he going to then go after Sung Jr., or Jinho, rather? Or, thinking that maybe the son is also incredibly dangerous, he's gonna just try to get revenge by going after the wife and daughter, or sister and mother, rather. If so, I can only imagine it's going to end very, very badly for Wong, just saying. Maybe he's just going to run like a scared little boy away, though I don't think Wang's personality type allows for that in this case. We'll have to see, though, where that goes moving forward in the season. As an ending note here, I do just wonder if the system is involved, right, with the father, the son, and his entire family in some way. Maybe even the mother. Maybe the system's even responsible for giving her this illness somehow. Like, did the system give his mother this illness or something? Maybe his dad did in the monster world. like, 10 years back when he was trapped there. And then after the fact, used the fact that Sung's junior wanted his mother to get better to then recruit him to go on this, player leveling spree, and then, use the life elixir as a jangling key to get him to keep playing. I mean, I don't know, but again, so many theories, so many ideas, and I'm just actually really excited after seeing this episode of what might come of the system and the plot developments surrounding that. So very, very positively surprised, and just because of that development, well, just because of the big plot development in this episode, I actually have to rate the episode very highly just because of that, because I really enjoyed it. Moving on though, finally, after like an hour, I want to talk a bit about Jinho, or Jinhu? I'm gonna say Jinho. It was nice to see Jinho finally getting some buddy time with Jinhu here. First of all, though, I have to say, poor Jinho, he can't even gather magic crystals anymore. He can't even do the grunt work anymore because Sung has his army do it for him. Like, come on, man, let me be useful. I don't want to do nothing. Poor guy. But then, when they get to the grill, Korean barbecue. Love Korean barbecue, by the way. Awesome. When they go out and get that, and he gets a bit drunk, though he claims he's not, but he's probably drunk. And then admits that, yeah, all the time we've been together, you've sort of been like a big brother to me. You saved my life. You've been really nice to me. And since my own real life older brother has kind of just not been in the picture, has not been a good guy, never really done brotherly things together, you, Sung, have kind of filled that empty spot for me. And by now, I sort of see you as an older brother figure, sort of substituting for my actual real life brother and the non-existent relationship between us. And I did think that was interesting. It's like, okay, sort of just admitting that and being a bit honest in his intoxicated state. I also did like seeing Sung sort of reciprocating, being like, yeah, you know what, if you want an older brother, why not? I'll be your older brother from now on. No problem. I'm happy to play the part, right? Which shows, again, Sung, he's being a good guy, right? I mean, he has no obligation to really play into this, but he does, because he probably doesn't dislike Jinho. He's been nice to him. He's been helpful. And yes, no necessarily any reason to say no. So yeah, I'll be your older brother. No problem. So that was a nice little moment between those two. And given that they also finished their required gate numbers, you see Jinho going to his father to then ask him to let him himself be the guild boss of this new guild the company is making, and not his older brother. And the interaction here with his father is interesting because, first of all, we hear that, okay, clearly the father is incredibly well informed, which I guess makes sense being the boss of a very, very large and powerful company. But he knows that Sung is the reason he got all those gates done, and that apparently Sung, saved all these people after the Red Gate happened. And even if he is really well informed, damn, news travels fast in that case. He must be, connected up to the eyeballs to even know that. And because of that, he is inclined to accept his younger son taking the spot as the guild boss. But the interesting part here is that, yeah, we can sort of see that he isn't doing it because he's being nice to his probably neglected younger son. No, he's doing it because, as he himself says, well, Sung did all of these things, right? And you kind of know Sung, right? You're kind of buddies, right? Right? So if you can just get him into the guild, then on that condition, yeah, you can be the guild boss. Sure, why not? Really setting it more up as the father using Jinhu as more of a pawn to further the power of the company and sort of the dynasty of his family, right? Not just doing his younger son a favor or being nice, which fits with the character we've seen of the father so far. Also interesting to see the potential fallout between the brothers when this happens later on. I do suppose that Sung is likely to say yes just because of the favorable relationship he has with Jinho, though that may change at a later point, who knows. It's also interesting to see how this new guild, this, I forget the company name, but this new guild, how that'll do, and the position it'll quickly get. Because if Sung becomes a member of the guild, the first member, or first hunter rather, of this new guild, I mean, that should place the guild to be extremely powerful and reputable very quickly, and it might grow extremely quickly also. And that, of course, will also get the interest of other guilds and people in the industry, and it might develop in very interesting ways. We'll have to see, though, later in Season 2. If you have enjoyed the video so far, though, do please remember to like and subscribe, as it greatly helps out the channel, and I deeply appreciate it. Just reminding. So thank you for your support. To finish off the video, though, I have a few other things I wanted to talk a little bit about. First is Cha. I have to say, very first of all, I kind of expected that swimming swimsuit scene, if you know what I mean, to be a better animated. But no, they went for a pretty reserved animation. They didn't overly animate specific elements as she got out of the water and whatnot, as many other anime often do, which is fine. I don't expect this anime to be overly bodacious, so to speak. So Cha still looking stellar. Waifu material, definitely. More than that, though, it was interesting to see Cha maybe being conflicted, not necessarily, but at least thinking clearly on her questioning the guild boss on why they were keeping the information about the new flying bugs a secret. Of course, it's classic information control, right? You don't have a reason to put out the information because it will only create panic and mania. It's not really going to help. Probably, right? Because the ones that need to know do know, and they will need to really get stronger to prevent the threat when, if, as it happens. But it is potentially interesting to think about if Cha maybe principally has a problem with this being a secret and wants this information to be public because she believes the public needs to know, or rather if she's simply thinking about it as, well, this is a very new bizarre change for these monsters. And if they can grow wings and then go on to land from this island, what havoc that might wreak and, the casualty numbers and whatnot. We'll have to see how that develops and what exactly Cha was potentially thinking about here. But it might give us some slight insight into her personality or character moving forward. We'll have to see. Moving over to Jinho, though. Like, goddamn, this man is a grinding monster. Like, yeah, casually taking out 10,000 demons, talk about grinding, and then just being a whole week non-stop, just fighting. I mean, I guess even though the army does a lot of the fighting for him, he still has to do a lot of grinding himself, And just non-stop eating, fighting. I mean, I didn't think he even slept there during this whole week to do this first 75 out of 100 floors. Like, damn, our boy is motivated, which... yeah, makes sense because he really wants to get the items for the elixir of life to then use on his mother to, get her better, etc. But still, our man is a grinder and a half. I do also wonder though, since Sung did get 2 out of the 3 items for the healing elixir, or elixir of life, whatever, in this episode, how long is it going to take before he gets to floor 100, where I assume the last ingredient is, to then give it to his mother? Is it going to be like next episode? No, I assume not. I mean, I assume in season 2 at least, he'll have to be strong enough to go back and do that, especially because, well, he is very motivated, right? Like, his goal here from the start has been to get this elixir, to be strong enough to get this elixir, to then save his mother, at least help her get better from this coma. It would be a bit weird if they actually draw it out longer than they need to, if he does get strong enough. We'll have to see, though, how that ends up developing in the end. I mean, as a whole, though, episode 3, season 2, absolutely smashing. I thought the episode outside of the, very crazy plot development with his dad, question mark, and everything else was a bit lackluster, right? Without that development, it would have been like an okay episode, nothing too much, just some decent fights and the plot slowly moving along. But no, that plot development itself was absolutely crazy insane for me and made this episode definitely one of the best in the show so far for me, and a highlight to be sure. And I'm very, very excited now for the rest of the season, and I mean, I can't wait. Having to wait a week for episode now is going to be suffering and pain, but that's the price we pay for not waiting. Anyhow, though, if you did enjoy the video, please remember to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and if you want to support my channel and what I do as well, do click on the Patreon link in the description, join there, become a member, support all I do here. Deeply appreciate that. With all that being said, hope you have a nice day, keep watching anime, and yes, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.